All right, welcome everybody. This is episode 5 of Wellness Decoded, and we are super excited to have one of our patients guest here, Cindi Curry. Cindi,
Favorites.
yes, one of our favorites. Cindi is from the Helper area and came to see us. And a little background story. Cindi really wanted to help other people in that area, and we started to come and do some wellness events with Cindi at her restaurant, and it was super fun, and we had a lot of people come, and then it just turned into a big thing, and now we're in Helper. And so it's been an amazing how long has it been since we've met? 2 years almost now?
Almost 2 years, yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Time
And
flies.
so we are going to have Cindi come on, and we're going to talk a little bit about her journey and working with Darlene, how she is feeling better now, and kind of her entire journey. So Darlene, you want to go ahead and kind of kick us off as far as...
Of course, totally. Yeah. I'm just so excited to have Cindi here because she's one of my favorite. I love all my patients. Cindi has a special place in my heart because she got me kind of moving over to Helper and being able to help all the people out there, Helper and Price and like the surrounding locations and stuff like that. We were able to really see the difference in the people there. And so when I see patients after, they've been, doing their protocol for 6 months and they come in and they still tell me how great they feel, that's the reason I keep doing this. Because
It's so
of things
rewarding,
like that.
yeah.
But the thing about Cindi that I first remember is you walking in to the office with your daughter and you looked really, really like emotionally distraught in your whole face, your whole demeanor. And all I wanted to do was give you a big hug and get you feeling better.
I was so sick.
And I think that day it was emotional and physical. Maybe it wasn't emotional, but in my mind it was.
Right.
And that day I think we did an IV. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gave her
Yeah.
a little bit of a head start there.
I'd been sick for over 2.5 years and they couldn't find out what was wrong, and I was so sick.
Yeah, and then after that, you came back and we did some blood and we checked to see how you were doing physically with this very comprehensive blood panel. And the best part about the panel is it doesn't just check like the minor things, it's also some very comprehensive major things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we did find some things on your panel, and you started on a journey of very natural yet integrative medicine. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So do you remember at the beginning, and I'm going to let you kind of like explain how you started to feel better and when it is you noticed a difference?
And maybe talk a little bit about like your symptoms, like leading up to it. You mentioned not feeling good over the past 2.5 years. What were some of the things that you were going through?
I literally struggled to get out of bed. I felt like I wanted to die. I literally felt like I wanted to die. It was like, why get up? Because it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, and I kept going to doctors and they said, there's nothing wrong with you. But Darlene found in my blood work that there were things that could be tweaked that made me feel 100% better. And I can't recommend enough, because she takes the time and looks to see what's wrong with you. She doesn't just, well, your blood tests look fine, go home.
Yeah, and the one thing that I think it has to be told, because a lot of people don't understand this, your labs looked pretty normal to the naked eye. So if a doctor were to look at it, or a nurse practitioner in the primary care setting, they would have said, oh yeah, you're okay. But when you dig down deep and you look at the abnormals, the tiny abnormals or the high normals or the low normals, and you put all those together and start fixing those little things, you notice a huge difference, because absolutely everything's connected. If we don't have the electrolytes in balance, which were pretty off on you, the hormones were pretty off. And then we just needed to kind of like tweak a little bit.
And my blood, I'm going to donate blood tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, what a simple fix.
Simple, like lots of this.
Simple, all of it.
Mhm.
Like was so...
Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I like to explain to people too is that being at a higher elevation, people will just say, it's okay for blood stick because that's normal. It's not. normal to continue to allow that to happen. Once you're at a higher elevation, that's when you just take advantage of those Red Cross places and go donate blood so you can bring the hemoglobin hematocrit down, and then you can feel better. Because if your blood's going through your vein like this and it's struggling, we want it to flow nice. Because if it's struggling, you're struggling. You're not thinking right. Your energy is crappy. You can develop a blood clot. I mean, there's so many other things. So that tiny little thing was huge for you.
It was huge for me. It really was.
Yeah.
The hormones were huge for me. Well,
Talk about the
everything.
hormones.
Greens.
The greens.
I haven't gone not one day without greens since I started this journey. I believe in them. I truly can feel a difference. Like by afternoon, I go looking for them. I'm like, Darlene, I need a scoop. So now I have a bag at work.
That's awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about the greens for a second. So with greens, which is this bag right here and this juice here, you get all the nutrients you need for the whole day. So if you actually started your day and continued your day with just the food you ate, there's no way that you're going to have enough nutrients to actually continue to move your body and function physically at the level that you really should be functioning at. The reason why we don't get enough nutrients in our normal diets nowadays is because a lot of them are taken out because of the processing. So the processing, the preservatives that are in it, some hormones that we don't need are in it. Also the packaging, the materials, do they have BPAs in it? And then the other things that I've noticed is just the air we breathe. The air we breathe is pretty bad sometimes. And you'll hear, on the radio, the immersion layer's bad. Everybody use precaution. Don't go outside if you don't need to.
We have good air.
Yeah. Being up in the mountains, like they are beautiful, lovely. You breathe the great air, all of that. Yeah. But nevertheless, there are plenty of people who suffer from that.
Absolutely.
Just by the environment itself, we have some issues with getting the type of nutrients that we need. These nutrients are so broken down that they get into our system, into our GI tract, they absorb into our gut, they help our microbiome. And so I think that's why Cindi likes the greens so much, because they really are kind of like what she needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, every person's different, but I'll tell you what, Darlene took the time to find out what I needed, and it's very much appreciated. And like, people get sick of me. We don't want to hear you anymore.
So what do you think is the biggest thing that Darlene fixed within the protocol? What was the biggest ailment leading up to the visit? What was like maybe the biggest thing that you felt like the biggest change?
Just the way I felt, because then it allowed me to improve myself. I wasn't tired anymore, so I could join Pilates.
Yeah, that's right.
I could
Pilates.
work all day. I can do things now that I couldn't do 2 years ago.
And you have to remember, Cindi owns multiple businesses, and she's a workaholic. And
so it's not like she had a choice.
She had to do it.
She
had to do it. And so hopefully this obviously helped in that journey as well.
So much, because they were suffering because of my health.
Yeah. What I meant to say is she had to work. She didn't have to come to us.
Yeah.
But she had to work. So now she's working with more energy and more stamina.
Absolutely.
She's able to accomplish the things that she needed to do. And I'm not saying that there's a magic bullet out there that actually helps with you feeling better immediately. She put in the work. So it's not just me. And I love that she gives me lots of credit. But honestly, if it wasn't for her putting in the work that she needed to do with Pilates and the gym and lifting weights and her diet, oh goodness, I don't think that she would be nearly as adorable, first of all, and healthy.
But I would have never gotten to that point without you. You gave me the tools I needed. So, because if you don't feel good, you're not going to do any of those things.
That's so true. So true.
People say, I can't, I don't feel good. Now I understand when people say that. I just don't have the strength, right? And I'm like, you need to make it. But now I finally understand, like, yeah, I see what you're saying. You have to feel good to be able to do these things.
Right. I mean, I can understand as well, because of my history, and the reason why I started what I'm doing now is because I was on my deathbed with I didn't know was a tumor in my parathyroid. Someone who was functional like me found it after 10 years of suffering. So I get where you're coming from 100%, as well as a lot of my patients. They have the same story as you, and I love it so much. And I wish I could just help absolutely everybody. out there. I really do wish I could do this all for free, but we do have probably the cheapest rates around, to be honest.
And I tell every single person I talk to, what's your health worth?
Exactly.
You can't put a price on your health.
That's the thing. You cannot put a price on
invest in yourself. That's, to me, that's the top priority, because if you're not doing your best, nobody else around you is.
No. And how are you supposed to live the best life you can possibly live without taking care of your health?
Right.
So,
my mom always told me that. She's like, if you have your health, you have everything. And she was so right.
So right.
So right.
Yeah.
So I think your health is priceless. I spent a lot more money going to different doctors and getting no results. So, and with insurance.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
copays are actually more
copays
than
are terrible.
Our fee.
Yeah.
So, any questions?
So the only thing, I know we talked about the hormone side and the functional side. I know there's also the medical weight management side of things.
Absolutely.
GIPs.
Yeah, we wanted
Absolutely.
to kind of run by.
That was the reason that we found Darlene to begin with, is because my daughter wanted to start on Trizepatide.
That's right.
It was her birthday present. And so that's why we came up. I had no intentions of doing any of this. And when I started talking to Darlene, she said, let me do your blood work. And we went from there. But yeah, the weight loss has made it possible for me to be, I was looking at knee surgery.
Yeah.
And my ortho doctor said I don't remember you might know, for every 5 pounds, it takes that much pressure.
Yeah. And I don't
off
know
your knees.
pressure.
I don't know the exact pressure, but I was like, I don't want a knee surgery. I'm going to lose this weight and get it off my knees.
Which is...
I've had back problems my entire life. I don't have back problems anymore.
Or knee problems. That's awesome.
So getting the weight off is more about health.
Mm-hmm.
And the bonus part is that you can buy new clothes.
And look really cute. I'm like, yes.
Well, I mean, think about all the food or all the money you spend on food.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I went Thomas wanted taco time today. $19 for one kid. I'm like,
it's interesting how much fast food has gone up as well. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how much money we can save by really kind of narrowing down our diet and not having so much of that eating out and stuff like that. But do you mind telling us how much weight you have lost since the beginning of this journey?
I really have only lost 45 pounds.
For someone this little, that's a lot. That's amazing.
That's a good amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd really like to lose more, but you know what? It's still about being healthy. My knee, like I said, my knees feel better. My back doesn't hurt every day.
Mm-hmm.
I can work 14-hour days. And I'm 62.
Yeah. And does she look like she's 62?
So if I can still work 14-hour days, yay me.
Yeah.
Because it's more what it's about, is that I stay so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not laying like I literally was not. There was days that I didn't get out of bed for 2 or 3 days because I was so sick. Yeah. And my daughter was living in Salt Lake at the time. She would call down and she's like, somebody take her to the hospital or I'm coming down.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, nobody could figure out what was wrong.
And, once we found those little tiny buttons to push, we pushed them, and then Cindi did the rest. And now literally the rest is history.
Yeah. I contribute her to saving my life because I had no life quality before. So again, how much is your health worth? How much is your life worth? Every single penny I've put into it,
Yeah. And that's absolutely amazing that she just, hit the nail on the head. How much is your life worth? Yeah. Because honestly, we have to kind of put it in that type of perspective to kind of finally decide what to do. Now, before we close, I just wanted to mention that a lot of the things that we do in our life after menopause is, oh my gosh, is hormones going to cause cancer? Da, 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 da. Let me put your fears to rest, because hormones, the benefits outweigh the risks, and the only people that we've ever seen get cancer from hormones are people that already have the cancer gene. And then that would be somebody who already was carrying it and it just kind of exacerbated it a little bit. So my biggest concern, and we've never experienced that in our clinic whatsoever, and this is just studies. My understanding, and what I really like to explain to people, is if you want to feel like you were 30 again, then you need to get back on that hormone wagon, because otherwise you're never going to feel that way. You're just going to feel like everybody says, oh, it's just old age. No, we don't want to say that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, we've got plenty of life to live. We want to spend it with our kids and our grandkids and our family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and for ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm a little selfish, you know. I'm happy that I feel better.
You have to be selfish in order to actually extend that energy and love that you have for yourself to them.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And people question me and they're like, you know, that stuff's going to come out and it's going to say that it kills people. I'm like, everybody's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person on this earth is going to die. And I'm just a firm believer of when it's your time, your time. And you know what? If I die healthy, I'd rather die healthy than sick.
Yes. I do believe, though, that if you're talking about side effects of medications, look at the side effects that your doctors have prescribed you or your nurse practitioners, your statins and your blood pressure medicine.
Gosh, they're terrible.
Whatever. They all have side effects, and your doctor prescribed them because the benefits outweighed the risks. So the risks that we have seen, as long as we are monitoring you, are so slim when it comes to side
And my
effects.
doctor prescribed me statins, and I came to you, and I take what, bergamot?
Bergamot now, because bergamot doesn't
it
reduce
works.
good cholesterol.
It works, and it's much better for you than statins.
Keeps it down just as they have those studies where it keeps it even with the statins, but it doesn't ever drop the good cholesterol. So the good cholesterol is super important for cardiac health and brain health. So,
And more importantly, my A1C went from 8.5 to 5.5.
which is amazing.
My little sister
Wow.
passed away from diabetes, so
Yeah.
you know, no, I don't buy any of that stuff. This is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing that we have natural supplements and remedies that can actually do the same thing as Western medicine. But like we've been explaining in some of our other podcasts, I believe in integrative. So I'll do Western medicine if it's absolutely necessary and we've tried everything else. We will then move to Western so that we can actually keep you healthy.
Absolutely. And that's what I've loved about her, is that she will search until she finds out what you need personally.
Right. That's why they call it a medical practice, because we're practicing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's personalized and it's awesome.
It's very personalized.
Well,
I'm grateful.
Yeah, well, we really, really appreciate you joining us. It's been
Absolutely.
amazing, and love the support you've given our practice and just the kudos that you give us. And it's just been an amazing relationship with Cindi.
Everybody's happy and helper that Darlene's.
I hope they stay that way, please. We love you, and remember that not everything is like that magic little bullet. We have to put in our own work and our own efforts in order to achieve the things that Cindi achieved and you know, everybody else that has been super successful with the weight management and the health.
Yep,
overall.
Yes,
absolutely.
but like without you giving us the tools, we can't do it.
That's true. You got to have
So
somebody to guide
we
you.
have to have somebody to guide you, and she guides you through this process.
Yep, absolutely.
I still stick with what's your health worth.
What's your health worth? Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
And again, we appreciate Cindi joining us, and we would definitely love for you to give us a thumbs up on this episode and consider subscribing as well.
Sharing.
And sharing. We've got quite a bit coming up. We've got more groups that are coming and more guests that are going to be joining us. So we really appreciate it, and we look forward to spending more time with Cindi and doing more of these podcasts.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
all right. Well, we will see you on the next one, and we love you.
Love you.
Take care.
Good.